Jesus replied with something that should stir great hope in us. What is impossible with men is possible for God. Here's the guy living a good life, solid in his disciplines, accomplished in his practice of his faith. I'm sure that those who knew him would say, let's say his name's Jay. Jay's good, man. He's one of the best in the church. I mean, he's rock solid. He does all the right stuff. He's in all the right meetings. He does all the right things. Nobody knows the teachings better than him. He's committed. But Jesus could see more than what they saw. You see, people would make their assessment of this man by looking at him and his practice. But Jesus saw his heart. And I want you to know, we're told in Scripture, that's where God looks. There's a lot of things I can do. And I speak from years and years of practice as a man who outwardly looked religious, but inside whose heart was really pretty messed up. He knew that this wealth was so important to him. He knew there was an obstacle between this man and following in a sold-out way. And he says to him, you got to be willing to give up everything. I want you to take this that is so precious to you, and I want you to go sell it. I want you to sell it. And then what you get from it, I want you to give away. I don't want you to have anything that even looks like it's connected to the thing that you cared so much about. Give it to the poor and come follow me. The man proved Jesus right. Verse 23. He became very sad, and he walked away. This passage is not about wealth. It's not about money. It can be, but it can be about a lot of different things. It can be about anything that I want to hold on to that keeps me from coming to that place of sold-out devotion to Jesus Christ. We can exercise and practice religion without surrender. And Jesus is saying, I require more. In Matthew 22, 34 through 40, Jesus encounters another guy who's good at keeping the law. I'm just going to read part of this. Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together. Again, these guys know the word frontward, backward. They know it well. One of them, an expert in the law, an expert from among the experts, tested him with a question. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? These guys so prided themselves in knowing it all. Which is the greatest? Jesus replied this, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. With all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. I want you to think about what that looks like. That means there's nothing left in me that doesn't cry out, I love you, God. I love you. My energy, I want to surrender to serve you. My mind, I want to surrender to grow in my knowledge of you. My heart, Lord, I want you to capture totally my affections. I don't want to be a man or a woman of mixed affections, drawn in so many different ways. I want to be a man of singular devotion. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and your soul and your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's going to be evident when these people love God in that way because love is going to be everywhere, man. They're going to love people who hate them, which we're called to do. We're going to love people who oppose us. We're going to love people who call us names. And then he says this, to you who know the law so well, all that you've learned, all that you know, all that you've studied for these years, all the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. You take these two commandments away, and all that you know falls to the floor worthless. To walk after Jesus would require everything. It is an all or none proposition. And for us, the question is, are we willing? You see, I've had a problem when I've read the Bible through much of my life, and it's, let's come up with a name for the condition. It's the surely not me condition. Surely not me. When we read the parable of the soils, and we read about the kind that falls away, the seed that quickly pops up and then withers. And then we read about the seed that gets choked out. Its effective is choked out by the worries of the world. We go, surely not me. And we make the assumption that I'm number 4. That I'm the good soil. I'm the seed that fell on the good soil and that I'm producing a harvest, a crop 160, 30 times what was sown. And when I read this scripture and I read about this guy and I look at the rich young ruler and I'm going, surely it's not me. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not that kind of guy who would come to Christ and not surrender at all. But you see, this man was face to face with Christ. And sometimes we think that we're something less than face to face with Christ, and we can get away with a little bit. We can hang on to stuff. And we read over a passage. To those listening on the internet, my apologies. A bird flew past the microphone. There goes my next invitation. I'm never coming back. Big bird. It was beautiful. We were there. It was a hawk. It was a dove. Surely that's not me. And I just want to say to you that I know from life's experience it has been me. When we first moved to Cowley County back in 1995, I moved here with my brother-in-law to buy some radio stations. And my purpose, I'll just be honest with you, my purpose was to build wealth. I'd been serving as a youth pastor. I'd been involved at Light 99, the Christian station in Wichita, and I was burnt out, and I thought, you know what, I've just been pouring my life in the lives of other people. I'm going to go down and I'm going to spend 10 years building wealth. How much like God's plan does that sound? And I even justified it by, listen, I've been working hard, I've been serving faithfully God, I've been doing lots of good things. I just want some me time. And God started messing me up about 3 years into that. There was no satisfaction in that for me. And then God started giving me a heart for people that I didn't know.